Dear friends, welcome to another thrilling episode of The Informant Military. In this video, we're diving into the Ukrainian invasion of Russia's Kursk Oblast and discussing why the Russian threat to use nuclear weapons should be taken very seriously. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. On Sunday, August 11th, the Ukrainian invasion of Kursk entered its sixth day. As I mentioned in a recent video on the channel, this isn't the first time Ukrainian forces have invaded Russian territory. There have been 3 previous incursions since the start of the Russian invasion, targeting Bryansk and Belgorod. However, the current operation in Kursk stands out due to several distinct factors, beginning with the forces involved in the assault. In the earlier incursions, the attacking force was mainly composed of anti-Putin Russians organized into semi-autonomous units, like the Freedom of Russia Legion and the Russian Volunteer Corps. Between 2023 and early 2024, these and other groups, including Chechens, Georgians, and Poles, launched small, short-lived assaults that typically lasted only a few days with little to no lasting strategic impact. Essentially, the goal of those attacks was to provoke the Russians, forcing them to divert resources and troops from other critical sectors along the front line. But the Ukrainian assault on Kursk, which began on Tuesday, August 5th, differs significantly from the previous attacks, particularly in terms of the forces involved. From the footage available, we know that the assault includes units of foreign fighters like Georgians, Poles, and even Russians, but unlike the earlier incursions, these groups do not appear to be the majority. This suggests that, unlike the previous operations, the current assault on Kursk is being led by Ukrainian units equipped with advanced Western weapons and vehicles, such as the American-made Stryker. Another key difference is the duration of the operation. This assault has already lasted 6 days as of Sunday, August 11th, and the Russians are struggling to repel the Ukrainian forces that have entered Kursk. In the previous assaults, by the 6th day, the invading forces had either retreated or were on the verge of retreat, with Russia consistently demonstrating quick and forceful responses. However, what we're witnessing in Kursk now is the destruction of Russian reinforcement columns, with over 100 Russian soldiers surrendering and the Ukrainian forces consolidating their gains in villages near the border. Does this mean that Ukraine's goal with this assault on Kursk is to conquer Russian territory? Probably not, as it's important to remember that Ukraine currently lacks the operational capacity to invade and defend territorial gains within Russia, especially when its primary concern is managing an invasion across nearly 10,000 kilometers of active front lines within Ukraine. The likely reason for the invasion of Kursk is the same as for the 3 previous incursions into Bryansk and Belgorod: to irritate Russia and force Putin to weaken other sectors by reallocating forces to counter this invasion. When we look at the map, it's clear that the incursion into Kursk is quite close to the front that Russia has opened in northern Kharkiv, which suggests that one of its objectives might be to draw Russian forces away from the Kharkiv front to Kursk, potentially giving Kyiv a better chance to extinguish that front. But even without the aim of annexing territory, Russia is clearly having difficulty expelling the Ukrainians, which is fueling a long-standing and now increasingly significant Russian threat: the use of nuclear weapons. As I've mentioned in other videos on this channel, Russia, like other major nuclear powers such as the United States and China, has a clear and restrictive policy on the use of nuclear weapons. The Russian constitution permits the use of such weapons only in 2 situations: in response to a nuclear attack or to prevent a conventional attack that poses a threat to Russia's territorial integrity. Therefore, an invasion like the one Ukraine is conducting now, if it poses a real risk to Russian territorial integrity, could serve as justification for a nuclear strike against the invader, in this case, Ukraine. As I said, Ukraine's objective is not to annex territory within Russia. Ukraine lacks the operational capability to invade and defend new territorial gains when its primary focus is on expelling an invader from its own land. Russia knows this, and Putin is well aware that Ukraine's goal is simply to force him to divert resources from other fronts. However, if this Ukrainian invasion is not quickly contained and neutralized, it could further strengthen Russia's nuclear threats against Ukraine. A nuclear weapon, even low-yield tactical ones, is thousands of times more powerful than the most lethal conventional bomb Russia has used in this war. This means that just a handful of tactical nuclear bombs, if used in a coordinated and effective manner, could destroy all known Ukrainian bases and depots. In less than an hour, Putin could cripple much of Ukraine's military capability. But to do this, he needs a very strong justification, and the invasion of Kursk could serve as the pretext he's been looking for. Putin is fully aware that such an action would cost him most of the few allies he has left, leaving him with only the most fanatical supporters, like Iran, Belarus's puppet dictator Alexander Lukashenko, and of course, North Korea's Kim Jong-un. But China, under Xi Jinping, which has vast commercial interests in the United States, has made it clear that it will not tolerate the use of nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Therefore, Putin knows that for him to use these weapons, it would have to be in a well-justified action against truly valuable targets. It would be an attack with even more severe repercussions for Russia on the international stage, but it has the potential to open the door to a swift and decisive victory in that war. For this reason, the Russian threat to use nuclear weapons has gained even more traction since the beginning of the Ukrainian invasion of Kursk, a threat that, given all it could mean for Russia, cannot be ignored. Stay tuned for more updates and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the latest analysis and insights on the world's most pressing geopolitical issues.